Indeed, you're still watching Sunrise Daily, coming to you from both our studios in Lagos and Abuja. We still have our guest with us, Mr. Adegboruwa, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria. Is still with us on the program this morning. Well, sir, let me quickly take you up. Let's quickly put this matter of the protest to end with this particular question, and we move on to the ministerial nominees, and you give us an overview of that. But how long do you think that Labour should give government? And are you satisfied that at the last NEC meeting, as a National Economic Council meeting which was held, that they're looking at implementing quite a number of the palliatives that government has for the people through the state government? What level of confidence do you have in that?
Thank you very much, Marco. I honestly believe that the issue of palliative is just a way of dousing tension. When government keeps announcing these so-called palliatives, you discover that at the end of the day is just something that will get into the pocket of loyalists and supporters of government. What we advocate for is that you subsidize things that are common to everybody. I mean, education, invest in it properly and fund it, so that those who cannot afford the luxury of the private universities or traveling abroad can at least go to the public institutions. Maybe the reason why I'm here today is that Chief Obafemi Awolowo, subsidized education for us, and I was able to go to secondary school. I was able to attend university because I may not have been able to afford to study law if there was no subsidy. Then we talked about electricity. You know, the money we spend in generating energy, power in Nigeria is enough to transform our economy. That enough can raise the status of our economic crisis if we have maybe 18 hours of electricity supply in Nigeria. So government should invest in that. How food is transported to the cities, invest in security, so that people can go back to their farms, businesses can resume, and this will affect the cost of price of food and then also of inflation. So for me, generally, honestly, I do not believe in doling out money for people. But I agree with government to provide buses, mass transit that can transport people from one location to the other. But it's not in physical cash to be given to people. Invest in infrastructure that will be common to all of us. And then secondly is that you cut your luxuries. The Orosanye report is in Aso Rock. It's with President Bola Tinubu as is there now. And the report is that we need to merge ministries. We need to use into the system of screening of the ministers. For instance, if you want to appoint a senior advocate in Nigeria, the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee will publish the names of all the shortlisted candidates in the newspapers, asking the public to make representation. If you have any reason why you don't want this person to be appointed as a senior advocate, even in my church, for us to appoint pastors, their names will be sent to all parishes to be posted on the notice boards for people to say, because probably the National Assembly may not know these people enough. Their constituencies, we know them well. So they should be given opportunity to make representations to the National Assembly concerning the candidates. And that's why it should not be a matter that is secret. Their names should have been forwarded earlier or at least days before the presentation to the National Assembly, so that Nigerians will have the opportunity of at least supplying vital information. It is not good that it's after a person has been appointed, we then discover that he has corruption cases pending.
You know, it's expected that, of course, those names will have been sent to intelligence agencies. There will have been a lot of clearance, but clearly you say that is not enough. We need to step up that game. As we wind down quickly, I must get your thoughts on the case of the suspended CBN governor, because you had written about this in the past. In fact, some had seen this coming all the way from last year. And I remember there was a time you even challenged the DSS to charge Mr. Emefiele Scott earlier in the year before all of this happened. But now the court has given him leave to serve the DSS, the bail ruling, but he's still being held by the CBN. There was that drama that played out between the CBN, or rather the DSS, and the correctional service. It didn't look too good at all. Your final thoughts on that one?
You know, the reason why we established judiciary is to avoid the rule of the mob. a case whereby you think you are right, I think I'm right, and we begin to banter ourselves, and then there will be lawlessness. So we then through common agreement and consent, say, let's have an institution that can adjudicate in respect of dispute. The DSS, as an establishment, has the responsibility to investigate, to make charges against people, but you can't determine their fate. You have to go to court. And once you have surrendered that matter to the Federal High Court by preferring a charge against the former CBN governor, you then have to fold your arms and await the determination of your charge, because the person is just a suspect. And our law says that a person is presumed innocent until the contrary is proved. Assuming, for instance, after this whole trial, the judge strikes out the charge and declares Emefiele free, you will have made him go through this illegal detention for no reason. That's why we advocate for the issue of bail. Allow the man to enjoy his right. It's not a capital offense that is punishable with death. It's not a rape offense. It's not levying war against Nigeria. So my appeal is to the Director General of DSS, and indeed to the presidency, because the DSS is under the presidency. Let us not give the impression that this administration is flouting court orders. The order is clear.
Isn't it doing that already?
That's what I'm saying, that the organization that is putting this in perspective is the DSS. So the presidency should call the DSS to order, to obey the order of the Federal High Court by releasing Mr. Emefiele to enjoy the benefit of the bail granted by the Federal High Court. On top of that, let the Federal High Court, maybe through the Chief Judge, at least do a circular to all the divisions of the Federal High Court in Nigeria not to entertain any further charge from the DSS until there is compliance with the order of the Federal High Court. Because in this society we collapse. If we come to a stage whereby people are arrested and then they are kept in custody at the mercy of the presidency of the DSS. You remember the chairman of the EFCC? As we speak, we don't know his fate. Whether he's still, I think he's still in custody because he's not been released. So you can't run a society whereby the freedom of individuals gets circumscribed. And I think that the President Bola Tinubu, has a duty to convince Nigerians that he does not sanction this flagrant violation of the order of a court by asking DSS to release Emefiele immediately.
And still hovering around justice, do you see this administration, when it constitutes its cabinet, aligning with that age-long clamor for the separation of the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice? And do you see a senior advocate of Nigeria, Lateef Fagbemi, being that Attorney General of the Federation?
Well, when the name filtered out that Prince Lateef Fagbemi was nominated as the Attorney General, I can tell you within the bar, we were all rejoicing because he's a professional to the core. I mean, one of the best of the best. So I think the opportunity has come for us to separate that office of the Attorney General with the Minister of Justice. There is a bill pending before the presidency, passed by the National Assembly, separating these offices. All that the President needs to do is to assent to that bill and separate that office so that the Minister of Justice will be a politician. And then the Attorney General is a professional who is dealing with purely legal matters, attending to serious legal issues on behalf of the government. I think this is an opportunity to do that.
All eyes on the government, definitely, but would like to thank you so much, Mr. Adegboruwa, for your time. It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
So wish you the very best.
Yes, I was just on temporary break, but thank God we're back.
We dragged you out.
Thank you.
Thank you once again for your time on the show. Well, we'll take a moment now, and when we return, we're back with yet another major topic. So please stay with us.